Hi, welcome to Lovins Reads Lovecraft 18. I have a milk crate, bag of a couple things. I like the sound of this door when it opens. That's why I'm filming it. Sounds and sound effects. I used to listen to sound effects records as a kid. Of course, the best one was Disneyland Haunted House one. It's available on YouTube. I listened to it again. Brought back a lot of memories. Okay. I have mixed feelings about Disney. See, that's just a good sound. Let's pull out my chair that I brought last time. Just yesterday. My goodness. Set my ass down. Let's see, on the way over here, this is my home away from home. It's my equivalent of a log cabin. No running water, no electricity, no bathroom. So I just come here for a couple minutes. Dog dish for my pet animals. This is a scary thing, my dead baby doll. Maybe I'll bring it back to life. No genitals, just a little asshole. I bought this stupid pig. I never liked it real shit. I like the pigs enough. Keep this thing over the years. Some kid's toy made out of wood. Needs a cleanup. I can fix it, make it better with my tape rather than this stupid gray tape. Okay, pig over there. Ah, my goodness. Where am I? Forgot to put an arrow where I was. So that means, I think I read this second paragraph, but I'm going to read it again just to get on a roll here. It's not bad to reread things. It was in the soft glow of late afternoon that I first entered the vault on the abandoned slope. A spell was upon me, and my heart leaped with an exultation I can but ill describe. As I closed the door behind me and descended the dripping steps by the light of my lone candle, I seemed to know the way, and though the candle sputtered with the stifling reek of the place, I felt singularly at home in the musty charnel house air. Charnel house. It's gotta be where they burn things. Looking about me, I beheld many marble slabs bearing coffins. Charnel house might be where they burn dead bodies. I don't know. Looking about me, I beheld many marble slabs bearing coffins, or the remains of coffins. Some of these were sealed and intact, but others had nearly vanished. See, you don't have to be a slave to a book. You can just comment or think thoughts. The book leads you to thoughts, new thoughts, often wonderful thoughts, thoughts you never had before. That's why I like to read. Helps me to escape myself. But others had nearly vanished, leaving the silver handles and plates isolated amidst certain curious heaps of whitish dust. Upon one plate I read the name of Sir Geoffrey Hyde, who had come from Sussex in 1640 and died here a few years later. Yeah, some of these audiobook readers on YouTube, that did it for LibriVox. They're pretty boring. You can tell some of them didn't read or write much. Hey, in a conspicuous alcove was one fairly well-preserved and untenanted casket, adorned with a single name, which brought to me both a smile and a shudder. An odd impulse caused me to climb upon the broad slab, extinguish my candle, and lie down within the vacant box. In the gray light of dawn, I staggered from the vault and locked the cabin of the door behind me. I was no longer a young man, though but 21 winters had chilled my bodily frame. Early rising villagers who observed my homeward progress looked at me strangely and marveled at the signs of ribald revelry which they saw in one whose life was known to be sober and solitary. I did not appear before my parents till after a long and refreshing sleep. Henceforward, I haunted the tomb each night, seeing, hearing, and doing things I must never reveal. Doing things? Was he masturbating? My speech, always susceptible to environmental influences, was the first thing to succumb to the change, and my suddenly acquired archaism of diction was soon remarked upon. Later, a queer boldness and recklessness came into my demeanor. He uses the word queer a lot, but it meant something different back then, really meaning odd, oddly bizarre, till I unconsciously grew to possess the bearing of a man of the world, despite my lifelong seclusion. My formerly silent tongue waxed voluble with the easy grace of a Chesterfield, or the godless cynicism of a Rochester. I displayed a peculiar erudition utterly unlike the fantastic, monkish lore over which I had pored in youth, and covered the fly leaves of my books with facile, impromptu epigrams, which brought up suggestions of Gay, Prior, and the sprightliest of the Augustan wits and rhymesters. One morning at breakfast, I came close to disaster by declaiming in palpably licorice accents and a fusion of 18th century bacchanalian mirth, a bit of Georgian playfulness never recorded in a book, which ran something like this. Come hither, my lads, with your tankards of ale, and drink to the present before it shall fail. Pile each on your platter a mountain of beef, for 'tis eating and drinking that bring us relief. So fill up your glass, for life will soon pass. When you're dead, you'll ne'er drink to your king or your lass. Anacreon had a red nose, so they say. But what's a red nose if you're happy and gay? Gad, split me, I'd rather be red whilst I'm here than white as a lily and dead half a year. So Betty, my miss, come give me a kiss. In hell, there's no innkeeper's daughter like this. Young Harry, propped up just as straight as he's able, will soon lose his wig and slip under the table. But fill up your goblets and pass 'em around. Better under the table than under the ground. So revel and chaff as ye thirstily quaff. Under 6 feet of dirt 'tis less easy to laugh. The friends strike me blue, I'm scarce able to walk, and damn me if I can stand upright or talk. Here, landlord, bid Betty to summon a chair. I'll try home for a while, for my wife is not there. So lend me a hand, I'm not able to stand, but I'm gay whilst I linger on top of the land. Kind of reminds me of those poems in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Some of them were tedious to read, especially in the great glass elevator. A real chore. But that was a good one. I like that poem. About this time I conceived my present fear of fire and thunderstorms. Previously indifferent to such things, I had now an unspeakable horror of them, and would retire to the innermost recesses of the house whenever the heavens threatened an electrical display. A favorite haunt of mine during the day was the ruined cellar of the mansion that had burned down, and in fancy I would picture the structure as it had been in its prime. On one occasion I startled a villager by leading him confidently to a shallow sub-cellar of whose existence I seemed to know, in spite of the fact that it had been unseen and forgotten for many generations. At last came that which I had long feared. My parents, alarmed at the altered manner and appearance of their only son, commenced to exert over my movements a kindly espionage which threatened to result in disaster. I had told no one of my visits to the tomb, having guarded my secret purpose with religious zeal since childhood. But now I was forced to exercise care in threading the mazes of the wooded hollow, that I might throw off a possible pursuer. My key to the vault I kept suspended from a cord about my neck, its presence known only to me. I never carried out of the sepulchre any of the things I came upon whilst within its walls. That's a good stopping point. This time I'll remember to mark off where I was, which is right here. Just put a little arrow there. And let's do the word of the day. Since Lovecraft uses it so often, I'm going to put queer. He uses that word a lot. So 1 or 2 words every time I make a video. We'll fill that book up eventually. Thanks for watching and listening.